La 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 la. La 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 la. La la la. But haven't seen my tears fall down. So many things have happened. The years go by and the friends you have for no more. Jealousy and envy. Wow, because you keep on grinding. People wanna see you fail, and although you fall, just move on. Crabs in a barrel. Want what you have, try to pull you down. Don't wanna work, just wanna take. They also pay it. On me. The more you hate, I'll get lifted. Hate on me. The more you hate, I'll get lifted. La 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 la. La 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 la. La la la. People come, people go. Where they at, I don't know. Liabilities, your creativity, assets I need. They give energy, but every now and then, the ones you think are real turned out to be sneaky snakes. You gotta
Check. How y'all doing out there in Facebook land tonight? We fine, Mike. See, that's what I always imagine y'all doing. Y'all know how I go. Y'all know how I get down. So, I want to welcome y'all out here tonight for this third and final part of Let's Make a Slave. This is going to be the final chapter of this conversation. And if you've been following this conversation for the last 2 weeks, I promise to enlighten you a little bit more this evening, along with my co-host, Ro. Say what's up to the people.
What's up, everybody?
And our very special guest for the evening, Mr. Slick the Hitman.
Hello, world. What's going on with you?
I'm like, say what's up to the people. You playing double dutch. You was like, do I say something now?
I didn't know where you was going to stop with it. I had to.
Oh, you was expecting a bigger introduction.
I just didn't know, you know what I mean? If we was going to keep it simple, if you was going to go Steve Harvey. I just didn't know.
Nah, I ain't going to go Steve Harvey. My teeth ain't like that.
I didn't know if you was going to go show your love.
Yo. So, jeez, let me tell you. First off, before we get started with this conversation, there's something I want to do that I ain't did in a while. Let's pay these bills. Shout out to our sponsors, Northern Marketing, Mecca, Mind Our Own Business, LeBron Construction, KC Electric, the Boys and Girls Club of Chester, Pressure Inc., TFG Tax Pros, and Abstract Kings. And there's also a new addition to this lineup. Today's show was provided by Latoyson Law, owned and operated by Chester native Enrique Latoyson. Latoyson Law is there for you when you need it most. They can handle all of your legal needs. Support Chester's own Latoyson Law. They handle property transfer, criminal defense, and all other legal needs. Right firm right now. Their phone number is 610-999-1439. Right firm right now. So now that I got those bills scooching there, tell the people a little bit about yourself, where they can find you, and everything you got coming up next, and then we're going to hit this conversation.
Whew, where do I begin? Let's see. Let's start with Facebook. My mama named me Ricky. You can find me on Facebook under either Ricky Taylor or Slick Muzone. If you know, you know. Feel free to find me on Instagram and Twitter and anywhere else people can be followed at Slick the Hitman. That's SLIKKDA Hitman. I believe it's on the screen for you. We got a lot going on, man. There's a new open mic coming to Chester.
Yes, sir.
We're going to talk a bit about that later on. And I have a new book coming. Yes, it's going to be called The Legend of Snack Zaddy. Dropping in a few weeks, as a matter of fact, July 7th. Make sure you mark your calendars. Books are going on sale soon. There go my mans and them in the studio. I'm going to get to it. But yeah, it's a lot going on. Hit me up, Slick the Hitman, Ricky Taylor. I'm outside.
Boom. You all outside everywhere or just outside?
I'm just outside.
Just outside. So we're going to slide on into this conversation. And I'm going to start it off by reading to you from page 13 of the Willie Lynch Letter and the Making of a Slave. So in this book, the subtitle is The Breaking Process of the African Woman. Now, we hit on this a little bit last week, but now it's time to get in depth with this. So he says, then take the female and run a series of tests on her to see if she will submit to your desire willingly. Test her in every way because she is the most important factor for good economics. If she shows any signs of resistance in submitting completely to your will, do not hesitate to use the bullwhip on her to extract the last bit of bitch out of her. Take care not to kill her, for in doing so, you will spoil good economics. When in complete submission, she will train her offspring in the early years to submit to labor when they become of age. Understanding is the best thing. Therefore, we shall go deeper into this area of the subject matter concerning what we have. Hold on. Let me put a pause. I'm going to put a thumbtack in this real quick. That first paragraph. If she shows any signs of resistance in submitting completely to your will, do not hesitate to use the bullwhip on her to extract the last bit of bitch out of her. Take care not to kill her, for in doing so, you spoil good economics. Let me ask you, gentlemen, today, what do you think that means? Take careful not to kill her, for in doing so, you spoil good economics. What do you think that means?
I'm going to let Ro go first.
Man, that's it's just crazy to just listen to that. Basically, it sounds like it's just tearing down her character, her willful, anything that You mean like how it is today, within how it like applies today?
Well, in a sense, think about it like this. So they took the men. And they took the biggest, strongest man, tied him to 4 horses, facing in different directions. They beat him, whipped him, tarred and feathered him, and then had the horses pull him apart. They did this in front of the whole family, in front of everybody, so everybody can see this occur, right? And so once the women saw that, you kind of see like, okay, this man can't protect me. But another way of looking at that is all other men watching know that they can't provide security for that woman. You got what I'm saying?
Right.
So in knowing that you can't provide security and you don't want that woman to die, you're going to submit to the master's will. Make sense?
Right.
Like if somebody has somebody you love, your sister, your girl, whoever, your wife, your cousin, whatever, most likely you're going to bend to their will so that they don't hurt the people you love. Now, when we put the shoe on the other foot and look at that through a woman's eyes, it may more so be like, oh shit, well, he can't do nothing for me. I have to protect my children. And how do you protect your male children from going and getting the same fate? You raise them to be more docile. Mm-hmm. You raise them so that they don't stand up. But if they whooped the woman until they killed her, they no longer have a bargaining chip.
Yeah.
If you took the women and you just straight up killed them, because typically with hangings, you always see pictures of hanging men. It's not that women never hung, but you see the majority of pictures wind up being the African-American male. And it's a reason for that. Because they knew if you're taking the women down, if they was hanging children and shit, they would have lost control of the situation. So what you do is you put the fear in somebody and you make them think you God. I will take everything from you. I will destroy everything you have. You got what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it starts to make a little bit more sense from that perspective. You got what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just my main thing that I wanted to hit on with that. And every time I look at it, it just made me think. And everybody who reads something, they get something different out of what it is that they see. They get something different out of what it is that they see. And we need to understand that the things that have been laid out, this structure, this framework that have been laid out, he said, do this for a year. Stick to it strictly for a whole year. You know, they say you do something for 7 days, it becomes a habit, right? You do something with repetition, it becomes a habit. Where this has become a habit in our minds, and we've passed it down through generations. And the sad part is, once they freed the slaves, they really didn't free the slaves. This is why you keep hearing people saying, like, okay, they'll give us a national holiday like Juneteenth, but they won't do any real legislation to protect African Americans in this country. Of course. It's not a crime to kill. It's a crime, but it's not a crime. It's a lesser crime if you kill a black person. You know what I mean? If a black person kills somebody, they're going to get the book thrown at them. If a white person kills somebody, they had a bad day. You got what I'm saying? It's not that they don't do time for it, like for egregiously heinous crimes, like they done took somebody's eyeballs out and used them as like click-clackers or some shit like that. Yeah, they're going to toss you under the jail. If you've been killing a bunch of little kids or something, yeah, they ain't got no choice. But in isolated incidents, they normally are a whole lot lighter on Caucasians than what they are on black people. The whole thing is, it just astounds me. It just astounds me on the way we've been watered down. It astounds me on how we can't work together. It astounds me on why we can't build. And I started this whole book thing, this whole book crusade, because I keep trying to figure out, why is it that we can't work together? Why is it that we can't build together? And I'm literally telling everybody that cares to listen, I'm literally telling you, this framework here, it's scary. It's scary. I don't know if you ever had the opportunity to read this. I don't know if you have, but read this book and then look out your door. Think about the situations that you went through throughout the day. Can you read some of them comments, bro?
Yeah. Christy Barnes said, hey, what's up, Uncle Ricky? Hey, what's up, Christy?
Hey.
What's up?
It was one more in the bottom.
Yeah, what happened? Just deleted. Somebody, it
said something about reparations and legislation, right?
The resolution support TRS, real legislation and reparations. Yes, and that's the whole thing right there. We always get gestures. So they freed the slaves. It's not that Abraham Lincoln wanted to free the slaves. Like, he was like, this is the wrong thing for America to be doing. Like, no man should be in bondage. That's not where he was at with it. It was a political move. Literally, it was a political move. That's why slaves are free. It was literally a political move. Everything that happened, so they free the slaves, and then they just, in every system, if you take something out, you got to replace it with something else. So they took away slavery and replaced it with pig laws and stuff. They took the overseers who became the police. That was the beginning of the American police system. And then they started picking up African Americans for what? Loitering, vagrancy. Okay, you just freed all these people and you didn't give them no jobs. You didn't give them anything in the land that they built. They didn't help build it. We built it. And we are literally second-class citizens in this country. And the sad part is, and I'm going to say this, and I know people going to probably look at me sideways, and I want to know what y'all think about this, honestly. So, Asian Americans got attacked. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong, but they got attacked, and America immediately put out legislation to protect them. And anytime we talk about anything solely to be ours, even our pain, somebody attaches their pain to our pain. gay, lesbian rights. I ain't got nothing against nobody gay or anything, but I just want you to understand. I need you to understand. Legislation was created for them. But what I'm saying is nothing in America, there is no legislation that protects the African American. Not one piece. Yes, empty gestures. They talk about, oh, well, shit, y'all got a whole month. Yeah, number one, it's the shortest month.
Yeah.
Number two, y'all got everything else. We just got days. And literally, when our children are in school, they don't learn about our ancestors' heritage. The only heritage they learn about is slavery. You got what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if all they learning about is slavery, then how can they ever see anything greater? Our kids right now, they strive to be entertainers or sports players. But why wouldn't they when in school, when they learn about black people, it's entertainers and sports players?
Yep.
You got what I'm saying? It's never, okay, you learn about Martin Luther King. You got what I'm saying? You learn about Coretta Scott King. You learn about freaking Rosa Parks. You learn about things like this, but let me tell you something. Our history is just really so much more. It just honestly is. Can you hit some of them comments?
Yep. I know someone asked about the book. The book is called The Willie Lynch Letter. I got that in the comments.
Yeah.
Rashida said, lock them up and made them work for free. And she also said, turn the plantations into prisons. Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, you got that right. They just exchanged one form of slavery for another. And how would y'all feel if I told you today that America has the largest prison system in the world? Literally, it's more people imprisoned in America than anywhere else on this planet. Anywhere else on this planet. How crazy is that? It's crazy.
That was all planned, just like in that
Yeah.
book. It was all planned that it'd be, once they free the slaves, they have to have an updated slavery mentality situation, which was the prisons. And they already, like they said, they already beat it into, memory to pass it down from generation to generation so that they have a reason to put them in the prisons, and things like that, and also go against each other. That's why, black folks have problems.
Well,
having businesses together.
Well, I think one of the biggest thing is we have been taught to hate each other. Number one, everybody is more afraid of a black person than a white person. It's not a black person alive that I know, anyway, that I personally know, that if we were just sitting out, standing in a crowd, and some white guy came up and was like, yo, I'm trying to fight. You know what I mean? You automatically thinking, I'm about to take this motherfucking head off. Like, it's just like no. But if a black dude walked up and was like, yo, you're going to get husky and shit, but deep inside you like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? We'll walk down. The biggest fear of walking through a white neighborhood, even though Caucasian people have done some of the most atrocious things to our culture, we don't fear walking through a white neighborhood. And if we did, it's just about getting picked up by the cops or something, or getting picked on by the. So if you walk through an all-white neighborhood, you think they're going to chase you down the street or something? And even if they did, what's your thought process if they chased you and caught up with you? Are you thinking they going like, oh, they about to lynch me in this motherfucker? You gonna let them?
My biggest fear when walking through a predominantly white neighborhood is being stopped by the police.
There you go.
Because I have no idea what I'm going to be stopped for, if it's going to be justified, and what's going to happen after. I work in a predominantly white township in Delaware County, and I feel safer it was crazy. I feel safer walking with my daughter, going back and forth to work, than I do alone. Because I feel like I'm less likely to be bothered by police if I'm with my daughter.
Well, let me ask you this. So if I took you up to Connecticut or out to New York and to the hood, and you had to walk through the hood of a really violent hood, let's say, that's known to be violent, would you be afraid? Would you be more afraid to walk through that hood than a white neighborhood? If you
I want to say it's a toss up, but I feel like I'm supposed to give a definitive answer.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a toss up. You know, I have a completely different set of thoughts and concerns. I'm cautious, definitely, because I'm in an alien place. I'm not from here, and you know, and on one hand, I'm like, okay, well, maybe someone will bother me because they don't know me. They might see, hey, he's a potential victim. But at the same time, I know how to, because I'm from that kind of environment, we know how to put on the right persona, let's say, so that we can decrease the chances of someone bothering us. You know what I mean? You can, you know how to walk and talk with a certain swagger, let's say.
So you feel more secure.
I do. I do.
So if a group of white people with hoodies was walking towards you and a group of black people with hoodies was walking towards you, would you care in either situation? Would you feel a threat was coming in either situation? Like, how would you feel in either one of them situations if you were just walking down the street? Let's say it was dusk.
I was about to say, is it light out? Is it dark out? That plays a big part.
It's dusk.
It's dusk.
Yeah.
That means I can see their faces.
Yeah.
White people, no. Black people, maybe. And again, the environment plays another part.
Well,
if I'm walking past Widener and there's a group of white guys with hoods on walking towards me, am I bothered? No. If I'm walking past Widener at dusk and there's a group of black men wearing hoodies walking towards me, am I alerted? No, because I'm in front of Widener. Nobody's going to bother me here. And I can see these guys' faces. All of us wear hoodies. Now, if I'm in a strange neighborhood at night, my answer changes. I'm afraid of anybody walking towards a group of people walking towards me wearing hoodies.
No, I'm not. For some reason, I'm just not afraid of white people at all. I'm just not. I don't like.
I think that's a testament to where we're from more than the color of our skin.
Probably
because we come from
what we've been through.
Yeah, because we come from an environment where you have to quote unquote be hard or be tough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I was all right, you take the TV show All American, for example. I've not watched season 3. Please, no spoilers. But there was a part in like it's either season 1 or season 2 where they got stopped by the cops. And my man who grew up in Compton was like, "Listen, you got to chill." But the black guy who came from the suburbs, he had no fear.
Yeah.
So I wonder if, like, I feel like the environment you grow up in plays a part in how you address these things.
But see, the only hole that I see in that statement is that scripted for TV. And when I look at real life scenarios, let me tell you, I haven't been in and out of jail or what have you. I haven't been freaking locked up my whole life, you know, pushing drugs on the street, you know, or whatever the case may be. I've always been, I ain't saying I never got in trouble because I did get in trouble before, but like most boys. But what I am saying is that most of the stuff that I've ever done has been what will be considered, you know, an upright citizen. And so when I hop in my car and I go somewhere and I do something, man, let me tell you, if flashing lights come on, I'm nervous, you know, and it's not necessarily if it's a white cop or a black cop, just the fact that it's a cop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I go through a white neighborhood, am I worried about anything? No, because I don't know what it is in my mind. I just feel like I would go Wolverine berserker mode on like everybody. That's how I feel. Realistically, they'll probably jump me eventually. You're going to get tired of swinging. You only going to run as far as you're going to run once you get tired of swinging. So it's like it is what it is. But do I think it would get to that point? No, realistically, I don't. But I don't really see them approach me like that. As a matter of fact, in my lifetime, most of the time, if I walk into a place, I feel like I get avoided more than anything. I feel like most of the time, I get avoided. Most of the time, people try not to have conflict with me. And I don't know if that has to do with my size, but I'm not. Well, but I'm not a really huge dude. Like, I was in the Marine Corps, man. I seen some big motherfuckers. You know, to me personally, in the Marine Corps, if you got small, medium, and large, I would definitely be a schmedium. I'm in the middle of I'm not small, but I'm not medium, because a lot of motherfuckers in the military, in the Marine Corps where I served, that was a little more on the husky side. You got what I'm saying? A little bit more physically fit. You want to read some of them comments, bro?
Yeah. Rashida said that her daughter said a white man said Happy Juneteenth to her, and she was upset.
Yeah, you don't even know if to take that as an insult.
Yeah.
I was about to say, why was she upset?
Prisoners Free Laborers, Christina said.
I mean,
Rena says Congress and the House unanimously. Unanimously. I said it right the first time. Voted for the Juneteenth holiday, but any kind of anti-violence legislation is tabled or stalled.
Well, hold on. Stick a pin in it right there.
that's my best friend. Shout out to Rena.
This is what I'm trying to explain to everybody. Everybody get all hyped up. And I'm seeing all this shit on TV, and they getting old black people to say, yeah, this is a victory for this. It's not a fucking victory. It's a fucking insult, if you ask me. I mean, for me personally, so what? So it's a day that everybody's going to get off and the bank will probably be closed. What is that doing for our community? What does that do for our people? Like, it's so crazy. It's like they peeing on our heads and telling us it's raining, and we out there like, I'm singing in the rain. You know, like nobody notices, or, well, I'm not going to say nobody notices, but what I will say is a lot of people are hyped up. All these years, I've been partaking in Juneteenth festivals and celebration. Now I feel like it's not even ours no more. Because now what's going to happen is big business is just going to monetize it. They'll sell T-shirts and little knickknacks, and they'll try to encourage us to buy this and buy that. And what we should be doing is only shopping black on that day. Most of the time, you should be only shopping black anyway. But shopping black on that day instead of falling into that big conglomerate trap of us getting money. It's something like, even when we think about our banking system, and this is based off of something I was watching earlier, when we think about our banking system, so we take our money and we put it in the bank for the bank to keep it safe. You got what I'm saying? But the bank uses your money, right? And they uses your money for what? To loan people money to go to school, to get cars, to get houses and mortgages and everything else. They get interest off of that money that they're loaning, right? But they're loaning it to us. So they're charging us interest on our money. Make that make sense. And then on top of that, they charge us ridiculous fees all the time. Halftime, banks are caught up in some type of wrongdoing and have to pay these class action suits. But the sad part is they'll take hundreds of dollars. They'll cheat you out of hundreds of dollars, and in the class action suit, you get $7. The class action suit, you get $12.50. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, the fees are definitely ridiculous. Especially they be like, oh, you gotta have a certain amount in your bank account.
Yeah.
Or they're gonna
Let me
charge
tell you something.
You gotta withdraw from your bank, and they'll charge you. The ATM will charge you for using the ATM,
Exactly.
but your bank will, depending on who you bank with, will charge you for using a non-such and such ATM.
Let me
and
tell
you have
you
to have
something.
at least 2 deposits a month.
Yeah. Let me tell you something, Rena. They always going to table any type of legislation that's going to help us grow. Because the honest to God truth is they don't want us to grow. And then the sad part is we all know this. We all know this. So can somebody tell me why we can't work together? Just imagine, I said last week, with the Tulsa, Oklahoma bombings, no wrongdoing was put on the people, and everybody knew, even the news stated it, you know what I mean, that, you know, it wasn't the people's fault that this happened to them. Even the lady they tried to say, the young man tried to rape, would not sign anything saying that happened because she said it didn't happen. The elevator stopped harshly, and they lurched in the elevator. He lurched forward, and he hit her, and she yelled out. And he got scared like any other black man from that day would have probably did, and he ran. because he knew he was running for his life. So at the end of the day, they burned down 10,000 plus homes to the fucking ground. They would not, no insurance companies would honor any of the claims.
Nope.
Nobody could go and get money out of the bank because all of their shit was gone. All their paperwork, everything. You don't carry around your banking information with you. So all of that shit was gone. Can you imagine the billions of dollars that is owed out to descendants of that? And some of the people, I think it's a couple people still survived from that period.
There's three women.
Yeah. But the sad part is, once again, nobody's saying this is a real thing in the universe. It's really here. It's paperwork and history and everything. And not only do they not make legislation for us, but they won't even try to right the wrongs for those past actions. And mostly every single person in America that's not necessarily from these shores, like the American Indian, have gotten some form of reparation from the American government, but not black folks.
I want to say two things. One, to circle back to Juneteenth, to play devil's advocate. I feel like it's not a slap in the face. I feel like it's not what we want ultimately, but it's a step towards it. And here's why I feel that way, because I highly doubt that the American government in any form of the future will fully admit to the crimes against our ancestors. And here's why. The country was built upon those crimes. So to sign in legislation and to provide laws would be to admit that I did some fucked up shit. And I'm not going to admit that because I'm going to make a lot of my old white friends uncomfortable. So I'm going to give you piece at a time to keep you off the gate. But I don't think it's ever going to be, oh, my bad, I messed up. They'll admit that they did wrong to the Asian community and the LGBTQ plus community and the Native American community, because the country wasn't necessarily, that's not who they built it on the back of. They did wrong to the Native Americans first. We will,
Not even just wrong. Many massacres.
We will recognize that, but to admit what they did to the African American people would turn the country inside out.
I don't know.
I don't think they will ever say, you know what, my bad. I don't think that day is ever going to, because when that happens, there has to be action behind that admission of guilt.
Not necessarily.
Why not?
Well, them saying this is most people's, I'm going to say, defense mechanism. Okay, those things were in the past. And even when we talk about reparations, let's think about that. We talk about reparations, that's like, where does that reparation go?
I don't want reparations.
How does that, well, you can say that. You can definitely say that because that is your right as a human being. But to me, I think that money should be poured into the African American community. And it's not that they don't got it. Shit, in my opinion, they created a whole pandemic and then they shoved money onto the whole fucking world. Money was coming out the ass.
And what happened to that money?
They spent it right back with the people
and that's
who
why
fucking got power.
I'm not saying I don't mean the blanket statement that I don't want reparations. I want a plan. I want economic equality. That's what I want. Because if you just, there's an old saying, if you divided up all the money in the world equally amongst everybody, the rich would be rich again because people would go out and spend the money on the things that they own.
Well, look at it this way. Every white person in America is not rich.
True.
Right? It's a lot of white people living in poverty. And it's more white people living in poverty than African Americans. Simply because about 70% of the country is white. 13% is black, and it gets smaller and smaller from there. But I know Latinos are really coming up in population-wise in this country. The whole thing is this. If we had direction, but it goes back to us being able to work together. It's back to us being able to grow together. It's back to us being jealous of each other, us being hateful towards each other, us being deceitful to each other. And it's such a shame because you can voice your disgust of the situation, but we have such a culture anymore where people will tell you, stop hating or pray on it. It's no way you're going to tell me to pray on a motherfucking thing, because let me tell you something. They say faith without works is what? Dead. Faith without works is dead. So you could pray all the fucking day long. What you think, God going to part the clouds, put his big old hand down and say, let me help you, my child? It's not going to go that way. You're expected to work. You're expected to toil. You're expected to go through really hard shit. The problem is we can't come together because of shit like this.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
This is not old. This is, it's been remixed.
Yeah. It's just the players have changed. It's the same playbook.
Yeah.
Just the players changed.
It's just been remixed, and regurgitated. That's all.
Yeah, no doubt. And this is the same reason why I say, if you look at what the poverty level is considered in this country, the poverty level I think is at $16,000, right? What's minimum wage in America? You know?
The new one?
$7.50.
Minimum wage is $7.50.
I think I think it's a state by state.
I'm gonna show y'all something. Real quick. It ain't state by state. Nationally, it's like $7.50. I think the only one that might be different is California. I know in Washington and like Seattle, I think it's like 15. Is that Washington State?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's do this. If the poverty level is $16,000 a year, if you're making $7.50 an hour, I'm gonna do some quick math for you. $7.50 an hour at 40 hours a week, that's $300 a week, right? There's 52 weeks in a year, right? 15,600. If you are making minimum wage, you are poverty, and that is why you're on welfare, because it's tax loops and stuff for huge corporations, but not for you. But I'm gonna add insult to this injury of your $7.50 fucking cents an hour. Let me show you something. America got this thing they call taxes, right? So they're gonna tax this little bit of fucking nothing. And as a matter of fact, is it $15,000 a year? That means you're making a little bit, and I mean a little bit over $1,000 a month. What is the average rental cost? Then they're trying to keep men and women out of the same household. Man, this society today is not designed for anyone to live alone. It is hard for someone making minimum wage to live alone and not be on welfare. And then even to rent a house or an apartment, your wage has to be 3 times what your rent is. So if your rent is $1,000 a month, you got to make $3,000 a month, or you could be turned down. But this is why most people who are not on Section 8 wind up renting from slumlords, because you can't afford nothing else. And what you going to do, take them to court? How many of us is just dealing with what we got? How many of us is just dealing with the bullshit? Because it's like we automatically think, nobody ain't going to do nothing, or you're going to go over here and lose, or you're going to this, or you're going to that. We'd rather say fuck them, not pay them for a month or two, leave him holding the bag in dark because he ain't doing what he's supposed to fucking do. I mean, let's look at this shit. Let's be real. Motherfuckers want to be real. Let's be real. Whole time, this is why I say Uncle Sam winds up being your sugar daddy for all of our women, damn near. Well, I don't want to say damn near all of them, but a really good percentage. A really good percentage, because he gonna make sure your kids eat. He gonna make sure they got health care. He gonna keep a roof over your head, and you can keep on making your $7.50. But that's called being compliant and complacent. Compliant and complacent. Because no, they're not going to take the bullwhip. What'd he say? He said, you're going to take the bullwhip and whip the fear of God into her, but don't kill her. You don't want to kill her. Because he knew if you lose the woman, that the men are gonna fucking go ape shit. But a man will fall back to protect the woman. The man realizes if I can't do anything, then he can do anything with her. And in our minds, you know what I mean? Hey, we don't want you dead. But then we have to remember sometimes that there are some things worse than death. Being raped. And Willie Lynch literally said, you take these women and you get your overseers, you get your children. Y'all have sex with these women until you get the desired shade of product that you want. Mm-hmm. You got what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me personally, I take a lot of shit to heart. I take a whole lot of shit to heart. Guess what? If you do something in these streets and I know you and I'm doing business with you or something else and you do something fucked up, I don't want to fuck with you because I'm not going to perpetuate this. I'm not going to hurt my community and I'm damn sure not going to hurt my people. It's just not what I'm going to do. And we all make mistakes and shit, but the more important thing here is to take care of our own, man. We got to. We literally got to. They say in God we trust, but maybe that's the problem. Maybe we're trusting in God too much and not enough in ourselves. If God is telling you like faith without works is dead, then maybe you need to be working. Maybe we need to be working. Let me tell you something. It ain't too, I'm just going on a rant. I'm gonna pull y'all back in. Let me tell you something. At the end of the day, if y'all all believe that God tests us, what's to say God's not testing us to see if we can fucking work together? What's to say we're not going to continue to suffer until we work together? And they don't want us to work together. And the problem is, you got some people, if $1 is shook in front of their face, that's all it takes. And what do they have us worshiping? Listen to your music. Mm-hmm. Money, money, money. Listen to your music. You got your own house, you got your own car, you got your own crib. Listen to your music. And then listen, even the rappers that put out the most bullshit music, in my opinion, that's going to tell you to get high, that's going to tell you to have sex, that's going to tell you the only thing that matters is money, they'll have one track that'll be the deepest fucking song you probably ever heard, will wind up being your favorite song on the track that they won't play on the radio. And that's them telling you how their dad wasn't there and how they hurt inside. That's them telling you the lessons that they learned or had to learn on the streets. That's when they tell you about how they love their mom and they love these women and stuff like that. But that's not what our society is set up for. Our society is not set up for us to celebrate our women. And now, the younger generation, what is everything really about? You got what I'm saying? And so now that this new form of slavery is in place for our women is fucking welfare, and for our young men is prison and denial of a fair chance of having good jobs. And yes, they let a couple people in to create the illusion that you too can have the American dream. But guess what? No, you can't. We don't even ask ourselves, how come some of the greatest African-American actors, there's certain actors you never see working together. And you'd be like, well, damn, it'd be nice if them two was in a movie. Something like Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. They be in movies together.
Everything.
At the time, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck was always in movies together. This, that, the third. You got what I'm saying? But it's a lot of powerhouses in our African-American community that you won't see in a movie together. I mean, unless it's being done by a white-owned production. It's ridiculous. It's just freaking ridiculous. Okay, I'm coming back to planet Earth. Can you please read some of those comments?
There's a lot of comments that went. I guess I'll start here with Christina. She said my sister-in-law was telling me how the bus system was created for white people so that the black people had a way to get to work for them and neglect their own families.
Yes, indeed.
Noble said, you can't have economic equity when we don't keep our money in our communities. Jews and Asians have communities where the money has circulation in it. So until we can do the same, there can be no equity.
Stick a pin in that real quick.
So, yeah, because they come out with a movie later on this year about I'll talk to you earlier about the flood.
Yeah.
They flooded another community as well. When they bombed one, they flooded another one. And then in North Carolina, black people own like a huge beachfront that was taken from them years ago. And
Let me
things
tell
like
you
that.
what the huge quality is, Dwayne. The huge problem is simply this. Yes, the Jews do it. Yes, the Asians do it. Hell, the Mexicans, they cross the border. They'll all live in a house together, fix the house up, and freaking, they'll turn that joint into Little Mexico. But we can't do it. We can't do it. And this is what I'm trying to say. See, anything that anybody could possibly say, we know as common knowledge. We know we don't keep our money in our community. But why? Why? Literally, I'm telling you, I don't care what nobody say. This is the framework for that. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot of other social constructs in place. But this, let me tell you something. This man effectively found a way to turn us against each other. And it resonates throughout generations. And we teach our children. We don't teach our children to be together. The big thing is what? Don't trust nobody. Don't trust nobody. You don't trust it. What we say, oh, family will let you down faster than friends. So what you want to tell me? That your family may have let you down at one point in time in life, maybe 2 points in time, maybe 3 points in time, but you can't tell me they was never there for you. And when I say family, that's not limited to one person. Okay, maybe you may have had a crappy dad. I did. I had a real crappy father. But guess what? My mom was there, and my mom wasn't perfect by far. And to this day, she get on my nerves, but I swear to God, I love her with every fiber of my fucking being. And no matter whatever wrong I may perceive she's done to me in life, I can't tell you how many times she did right. I can't tell you how many times she went without so that we could have. I can't tell you the amount of sacrifice that she made. I can't tell you how unfairly I had gotten angry about her because maybe at the time I was too young to understand why I couldn't go on that trip. But she had food in our stomach. I can't tell you how many times I watched her fight with a landlord because he wouldn't fix the fucking stove or the heat and it was wintertime. And I felt too small to even help. And I can't tell you the amount of times that I've watched her sit at our dining room table and cry and be too young to even understand what to say to make her feel any better, because every time I cried, she made me feel better. But see, that is the strength of our women. And unfortunately, we can't count on our men to bring our culture back. We can't. Because men are so far stuck into this cycle. And a lot of times it's reciprocal because a lot of the moms raise their little boys in the fashion that they raise them. And I mean, they're still everything to them little boys, but this is still in our system. And now instead of being afraid of your child being tarred and feathered, now we sitting down, instead of being afraid of master, we telling our kids, well, when they pull you over, try not to fix your face, soften your face out. Don't talk out of turn. Don't get no argument with this cat. Because we just want our children to make it home. Well, guess what? Back then, you just didn't want your child to get tied to that horse, tarred and feathered, beat and pulled in 4 different directions until he was gone. They didn't want their children to be hung. They didn't want their children to be burned alive. You got what I'm saying? All right, my bad. Roll that beautiful Bing footage.
Rashida said, I don't agree with them making Juneteenth a holiday because, one, we are not free.
Boom.
Two, we should be able to celebrate our freedom every day. They make it a holiday to keep us quiet, quite just like everything else they gave us, and it worked just like every other time.
Yep.
Definitely.
I think it's too soon to say it worked.
Well, yeah, definitely, because it's a new holiday.
Yeah, we gotta see. We gotta see.
I mean, you got to see, but the question is, did those 4 states recognize Juneteenth? Did anybody hear about
we
that?
don't even want to
Which 4 states? The ones that
It's 4 states that did never recognize Juneteenth.
because it's 14 states that voted
Well,
against it.
Well, you got to look at it this way,
So,
too. You can't say that Juneteenth is a new holiday, actually.
No.
Juneteenth has been a holiday. You know, we assume holidays are holidays
It's
because you
just-
get a day off.
It's just becoming popular.
But it's been a day of celebration. You got what I'm saying? And for me, as far as I'm concerned, I don't never even remember anybody saying to me, any black person I know, hey, you know what? They should make this a federal holiday. I never remember that. I've never heard it.
No.
I mean, if that be the case, just like Christmas, why don't they make Kwanzaa or whatever a federal holiday?
I've been.
But even
I'm sorry to
then-
cut you off. I've just been seeing it online for days now, for as long as they announced it. I don't. Everybody's energy has been the same. No one asked.
Yeah, nobody
No
did.
one asked. We asked for legislation. We asked for an anti-hate.
protect us.
We asked for an anti-hate crime bill. That's
Yeah.
it. We asked for one
And we
thing.
got Juneteenth.
And you get. Where did you pull this from?
Who cares?
Because we're gonna
Who
celebrate
cares?
regardless. You know our people.
Yeah.
We gonna celebrate like we've been doing for
Like
the last
we've
couple
been
hundred
doing
years.
all
We
this
gonna
time.
celebrate regardless.
Let me tell you something.
As a matter of fact, I don't think we should get too wrapped up in the whole Juneteenth being a federal holiday thing.
No, not at all. Why would you even give a fuck? Let me tell you something.
Like now that I think
that's
about
like
it.
that's like you putting your kid through college and everything else. You celebrating your kid, you know, your whole life. Oh wait, that's not a good example. Let's say, you know what? I can't even give an example for this bullshit because it's bullshit. It's just bullshit. Like if we was already celebrating, like, what's the difference? Because are we getting something? Oh, I get it. The nation recognizes it. So, the nation recognizes Juneteenth. Man, get the fuck out of here. And besides that, it's still bullshit because the reasoning, period, we was still fucked up because people were still slaves for 2 fucking years. And even now, believe it or not, there are more slaves on this planet right now today than ever in history. But the sad part about it is this ain't that show. But maybe one day I can talk about it, but it seems like we have to untangle this mess before we can really talk about anything else. I really need people to understand, like, if you haven't gotten this book, read it. And when you read it, don't think in terms of breaking a horse and breaking a black man. Don't think in terms of that. Read the words, absorb what's being said, and think about how it applies to your life. Let me tell you something. I read this book, and I had to read it again. I had to fucking read it again. Because I sat up here and said, this is crazy. Like, I was just telling y'all about my whole experience being in a business district over here in Chester and the bullshit that was happening to me. And at first I was angry. I was so angry at people. I was angry at everybody that I felt was doing this community wrong. But then I realized nobody really gave a fuck, right? So then I said to myself, nobody cares. And if I speak on it, nobody cares. So how do I get satisfaction out of this? Then I went on a journey to understand why it is that people feel they need to try to knock you out of business, or why people feel like they need to do something to hold you down, or why is it the crab in the barrel mentality? And let me tell you, it's so weird because I always feel like the universe will put shit in your way to talk directly to you when you need it. And I looked at it and everything just transformed. That man said to make us envy and hate each other. He said envy is stronger than admiration. And think about that. Think about what you see on Facebook every day. Okay, let me break this down. Fuck envy. I'm gonna put a pin in it over here. We're gonna say hater. Hater. Because when you think about it, the people who use that word hater, isn't it just another form of what you want to call envy? Isn't it just another form of envy? It's hard for us to congratulate our own. And I mean, we do this superficial Facebook like and heart. We do all of that superficially. But meanwhile, there's a program running in the back of our minds. And this program, oftentimes, it doesn't make us proud of each other. And believe it or not, I fashion my life in a way where I try to give people opportunity to do stuff. I try to give people opportunity to grow, because the way I kind of learned through my experiences in life, we can only do things as a team. And everything I've ever done has been in the efforts of teamwork, being in the military, even working in a nursing home. When I used to work in a nursing home, guess what? The women would come and get me, hey, can you help me with so-and-so? I got you, I'm there. We work together. They'll come in and restock all my stuff and everything. All I gotta do is run around here in the morning and get everybody out of bed and put them in their wheelchairs. Bam, bam. You know what I mean? We work together as a team. I have never been in a situation where, and it always seems like it's not the common people who are trying to build something. It's more so the people who have something that got stuff established already that can't work together. And I think the bigger moral situation is, think about where people are financially and how they view money. See, because for most people, money is God. Money is everything. And like I said, when we're constantly bombarded with it all the time we're bombarded with get that money. But money's not everything. Money is much like a tool. It's like a hammer and a nail. If you got a nail, but you ain't got no hammer, then you ain't doing nothing. If you go to the store and you get groceries and you ain't got no money, then you ain't doing nothing. Money is the ends to a means to an end. It's a means to an end. That's it. I keep trying to tell you, if you were in a fire, scream out till you're safe, and let's see what them Benjamins do for you. If somebody was whooping your ass, call on George Washington. He just gonna lay there. And as a matter of fact, he's so unloyal that if somebody fucked you up, knocked you out, and took your wallet, he ain't even gonna scream for help. He's just gonna go with them and let them use him for whatever they wanna use him for. Like, money is just a freaking tool. Okay, I'm off my soapbox. That was a big rant. Yeah, it was.
I mean, it's your show, bro.
Yeah.
Rashida said, black people have no idea who they truly are because we have been conditioned to be something we are not.
Mm-hmm.
Roman, no disrespect, that white people recognize it.
Yeah.
Tell 28.
Who's 28?
Noble said, if you open some people's eyes to what's happened to them, it would be like turn them inside out and they would mentally just die.
Stick a pin in that real quick. Look, bro, like, what the fuck?
20 more minutes.
So, hold on. Nah, no, real rap.
Soapbox reloading. Here we
So,
go.
I'm
Talk to
gonna
me
ask
nice,
y'all-
Mike.
I'm going to ask y'all a question. What Dwayne just said about telling people something, and it would just, if you opened up their minds to it, it would turn them inside out. Does that not remind you of movies that you may have seen? For instance,
Don't say the Matrix.
The Matrix.
I knew you was gonna say the Matrix.
No, really. Remember when the one
Yeah.
brother got woken up and he was like, he made a deal with the devil, and he said, the only thing I want is what? Stick me back in the machine.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to go back. I don't want to fight this. I don't want to be in this. I don't want to live in reality. Stick me back to where I'm comfortable at. Mm-hmm. When I was in the Marine Corps, one of my brothers came down to visit me. And my brother was so indoctrinated to the hood, I promise you, he was damn near going crazy. Damn near going crazy to get back here. He came down there to help me move back up here, but we was down there for like 2 weeks maybe. Oh my God, let me tell you something. I no sooner got to the exit, the top of the ramp, and he was like, yo, let me out here. And he just went walking in the city. It's like he had to recharge and put his feet back in the hood.
It'd be like that.
To feel energized and strong again. Nah, it'd be like that when I walk in my front door and I hop in bed, but nigga, not on the off ramp.
What I'm saying is when you're accustomed, I'm not going to say condition, but when you're accustomed to a certain environment and a certain set of circumstances,
What's the difference?
you want to get back to that.
What's the difference between accustomed and conditioned?
What's the difference? Accustomed deals with a level of comfort. Conditioned is you have to. Like I'm accustomed. I'm accustomed to living in Chester.
You're conditioned.
I'm accustomed to it, but I could do without it. I feel like if I was conditioned to it, I couldn't live without it.
I don't believe that. Let me tell
That's
you.
just how I view the two
Yeah.
specific words at hand.
I disagree with that statement. And the only reason why I disagree with that statement is because growing up in an area and constantly being bombarded with what that area has to offer, it does condition you to a certain way of life, to how the people are, to the language, to the culture of and the climate of that community. You know what I mean? So you are accustomed, but you are conditioned to it. You know, now, even if you're accustomed to something, you can live without it. If you're conditioned to something, you can live without it. You're just used to it. I'm conditioned to having a cup of coffee every morning. And if I don't have my cup of coffee in the morning, like, I'm damn near freaking because I need my cup of coffee.
Okay.
Like I'm
See,
damn near freaking. But if I didn't get the coffee, I would just have to deal with it.
See, I'm like that, but like if I don't get my coffee, I'm not tripping.
Yeah.
I'll get over it. I might be upset for maybe 10 to 15 minutes. After that, it's like, all right, look, I got shit to do. I ain't got time to be mad.
I feel you, but I'm definitely gonna get that cup of coffee later.
So now I got to go look up and the two different definitions of accustomed and conditioned.
Yeah, I normally have my laptop.
Go get my
open.
dictionary, somebody, please. Webster, we need you.
Webster, can you read a couple more comments, bro?
Yeah. Nova said, how is it that Korean own everything in the business district for years, but our businesses fail after 2 years?
I'm trying so hard not to speak on that because
Well,
I've been talking about it
let
for
me tell you
forever.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because we once again we're not patrons of those businesses when they do open. And then we don't realize, like somebody will get an idea and they'll say, well, I want to open up a business. And it sounds like a good idea. And anybody doing business, I could have had P in on this conversation actually. When you started this radio station and everything started flowing, it was a good idea and you gung-ho and everything. We typically don't have that large nest egg to get us through our first year. Mm-hmm. A lot of times when we do something, we doing it from the muscle. Mm-hmm. I don't know if when I went to when I opened up my cafe,
You know
I didn't get any loans or nothing. I didn't get any loans. I didn't have any money coming in, anything. I had to make everything from the muscle, what we say, from the hustle, from the muscle, what have you. P, when you started this radio station, did you have enough of a nest egg for like a year's salary for people, for all the bills and everything, even for 6 months?
I had enough money to open the station.
There you have it.
Right.
But this is what happens. Now, question for you. For anybody who wondering, that's Pierre, Jean Pierre. He,
Uncle P, what's going on, family?
He runs
El Jefe.
The whole thing becomes this. Now my question to you is, because you didn't have all of that money saved up in the rear or whatnot, like sometimes you have to wind up having another job.
Absolutely. I had to work a job.
You got to do what you got to do. So you might not be able to be here because in order to have here, you got to have the money coming in.
Right.
But when you don't have that many people coming in the beginning, when you don't have that many people coming to advertise, when you don't have enough people to cover your monthly expenses, then you have to do something to help your dream survive.
Absolutely.
Correct?
You have to work. You have to get a job. You have to hustle. I was doing everything, right? And the first 2 people that I opened up the station with, they were supposed to be here, and things happen, bro. Right?
All the time
in business. And I agree with you with this making of a slave situation, because it's what affects our community on a day-to-day basis. I see it every day, and I'm just like, oh, that's Willie Lynch right there. Oh, that's another one right there. And it's like, if you know this, and you know it's a book out there that somebody wrote something, how to train you, generations. I looked at a lady today, and she just had this anger look on her face, and I'm like, damn, that's Willie Lynch. I'm just thinking to myself, like, why, sister, why you mad? You got to smile. You say something to her, and she smile a little bit, but she go right back to being mean again.
all day.
But with opening this business, it wasn't so much that the community didn't understand what they needed. I didn't understand what I had at the time, right? So a lot of businesses fall like that, right? So I don't put it on the community not helping out. I put it on me not knowing what I have to push it into the circles where it needs to go. We're gaining momentum now, but, it's been a rough 4 years, bro.
But even saying that, if you sold cheeseburgers, if you had a cheeseburger shack,
I buy one, bro.
it would be the same situation. So guess what? Sometimes you have on the door, you're going to be open at 9, but if you working that other job to keep the lights on at your hamburger joint, your cheeseburger joint, then it's the same difference. And this is why people don't be open. And then you start getting bitter. Let me tell you something.
Before you do that, can I make one point?
Go ahead.
Because I feel like you're about to go for another 10 minutes.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna make one point about what we're talking about, and then I'm gonna leave it alone. I want to make one economic point.
Go ahead.
When you go to the Chinese food store, right? Who works there?
All Chinese people.
Their family. Where do they live?
Probably right there.
Exactly. They're not paying their son to run the front register. They're not paying the other people living in the house. They all doing it together, and then they living upstairs.
But bro, did I not point that out earlier when I said how Mexican people come over here?
Yeah,
They all live in the
yeah.
same crib. We won't live by those principles.
And that's the point that I'm making. I'm not combating anything you say.
Oh no, I'm not combating what you're saying.
I just want to be sure. But
this is what you're saying.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
This is what you're saying.
So for
I'm
the
telling
people, and not just the sister who come, because I've had this conversation for years, And for the people who wonder to this day, this is part of why. I'm not saying that's the complete reason, but it's a very important piece,
Bro.
It's a very important piece.
It's the foundation. It's the fucking foundation. I'm not saying it's the walls and the windows. I'm not saying all that. But it's the foundation.
Yeah, because if I got somebody, if my son is working for me and my niece and my cousin, I don't have to worry about paying somebody $12,000, $15,000, $20,000 a year to do 1, 2, or 5 things, because the little man gonna do it because I told him to.
Yeah, but bro, let me tell you something. White people do that.
Yeah.
Mexican people do it. Chinese people do it. And now I'm not saying there's no black family-owned businesses. I'm not.
There are several.
But what I am saying is I see it fail more times than not in our community. That's it. I've even had, I have a mother and daughter team that works together typically. I have a friend I graduated with from high school. Her and her sisters all work together. And they get it done. And I'm sure they got problems sometime and everything else, but they working together. But even outside of that, there is no reason why the intelligent, strong black men in this community can't get together and make something happen. And the reason why it's not happening is this, and it has to be addressed. We have to accept the fact that we've been designed this way. We've not designed this way. We've been cultivated to be this way over time. Over time. Let me tell you something. It is very hard to fight against the basic things that you've been taught throughout life. And most of your lessons that you will learn is not because someone sits you in a chair and grades you on something. You learn shit by hearing your parents talk on the phone.
Yeah.
You learn shit by watching your family interact with each other. You think when you standing in your house and you like on the phone talking to your girlfriend like, so-and-so ain't shit. What you think your child don't know what his daddy name is? And if you think he ain't shit, what make you think he eventually gonna think? And then you walking around with this hole in your heart. We all walk around with this deep hole in our hearts that just can't be filled with anything. And a lot of times, even when we're happy, there's a huge layer of unhappiness under it. So them injections of happiness, they wear off too quick. Jeez. I'm done.
When Nova said, we love to show our hoods and fights, but don't show our accomplishments, but put us down for evolution of self. Which is very true, because of the shows, everything like that, all the black shows, like, they go down, but once they start having violence and sex and fights and stuff like that, even the reality, especially the reality shows, and they even said it, some of the people, cast members, once they didn't have a storyline, AKA no fighting, no drama, they got dropped. That was it. They like, you're not bringing nothing to the show, no viewership or nothing like that, instead of trying to show their accomplishments. And back onto the district though, Rashida did say, well, I spoke with a Korean woman who owned a place in the business district, and she said when one comes over and makes their first 5,000, they hold it for the next family member to start their business.
Well,
I've been told that too.
The odd part about that is when foreigners come to this country to start businesses, they don't have to pay taxes for, I think it's like 7 years. And what happens is, if you ever notice, typically with a lot of these Chinese food restaurants, the owners may be there for 7 years, but after a while they change ownership. Because what they do is pass it on, and they'll just run it like that and not pay taxes. And it's much like churches in a way. Churches don't pay taxes. You got what I'm saying? You can keep stuff in your family and keep it pushing along because they don't have to pay taxes. But that's beneficial to them. So what's beneficial to us? And the whole thing is, we can't even begin to ask for anything or to demand anything because we can't get it together with each other. We can't get it together with each other. I don't care what nobody say. You can say it however you want to say it. There is not a coalition of black people in this community that could work together. And the sad part is, when it is typically through government and backdoor deals where people lining their pockets with the money of the people, or people selling off stuff for those kickbacks and stuff. That's the big thing right there. But I tell you what, if we could figure this out, if we could detangle this, if we could take it out of our system, man, let me tell you something. I'm very successful in my own right, but I don't have all the answers. I can lead or I can follow, but I can't just follow anything. A lot of times with us, we're really prideful people. I don't give a fuck if somebody ain't got shit but a cart. They'll be prideful of it. Willie Lynch said in here, if literally, let me find this thing real quick. Where was it at? He said, for example, if you put a slave in a hog pen and train him to live there and incorporate in him to value it as a way of life completely, the biggest problem you would ever have out of him is that he would worry you about provisions to keep the hog pen clean or partially clean, or he might not worry you at all. But on the other hand, if you put this same slave in the same hog pen and make a slip and incorporate something in this language whereby he comes to value a house more than he does his hog pen, you got a problem. He'll soon be in your house. So basically, look at it this way. How many black people you know, they'll be a manager of something, or they'll get in a position of running something, owning something, and all of a sudden they act like they God. They act like they God. I've seen people take care of McDonald's better than they take care of their own damn house.
Don't get me started.
Listen, let me tell you something. I hate to say it. I truly hate to say it. I hate to say it. But this is so deeply entrenched in us. And it's literally like, let me tell you. Oh, and this is the second thing. And because you do poetry, because you do the radio, because you do poetry, I had a conversation on one of my shows a long time ago about how we understand language. And literally in this book, and I just want to hear y'all thoughts on this right here. I literally need, here go 4 black men. You can hear their thoughts on it. He says, boom, 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 boom. You know, language is a peculiar institution. It leads to the heart of a people. The more a foreigner knows about the language of another country, the more he is able to move through all levels of that society. Therefore, if the foreigner is an enemy of a country to the extent that that knows the body of the language, to that extent is the county vulnerable to attack or invasion of a foreign culture. For example, you take a slave. If you teach him all about your language, he will know all your secrets, and he is then no more a slave, for you can't fool him any longer. A being is a fool is one of the basic ingredients of and incidents to the maintenance of the slavery system. For example, if you told a slave that he must perform in getting our crops, and he knows the language well, he would know that our crops didn't mean our crops, and the slavery system would break down, for he would relate on the basis of what our crops really meant. So I know that was a lot, and I know that was a lot. But basically, language, as we hear it, as we hear words, a lot of us think words to mean one thing or another. It's why it's so hard to learn the English language, because one word can mean so many things. So I can say the word submit to you, and you'll put your definition on it. You'll put your definition on it. You put your definition of it. And of course, I have mine. Some people may think, like, I'm just going to ask flat out, like, when I say the word submit to you, what does it mean?
Give will.
Give will. When I say the word submit to you, what do it mean, P?
Listen.
When I say submit, what does the word mean to you?
Yeah, listen. Same thing.
So you can say submit to a lot of people, and it's a negative connotation on it, because they think it means like you're trying to be their master, like you're trying to push them down, like you're trying to stand on their shoulders.
Like Leonidas from 300.
Exactly.
Couldn't say the word submit around him.
Exactly. Like, people don't understand. So there is complication when there's 2 different languages going on. And that's why a lot of times these privileged folks, these privileged folks, they understand stuff to mean one thing and not another. When we say they're privileged, what do you think they hear? Slip.
I'm sorry, I was reading the comments. Say that one more time.
When you hear, when white folks hear the word privileged, what do you think they hear?
And it has to do with being at an advantage. I don't know why it was hard to get those 3 A words out.
What do you think they hear, P?
Repeat the question again.
When white folks hear you saying that they are privileged, what do you think they hear?
Yeah.
At an advantage.
What do you think they hear?
Nothing. They don't think they are.
I agree with you. They don't think that they are. They don't think that they are at all. They don't hear, they want to argue with you, honestly, because all any white man can see is himself getting up in the morning, going to work, sweeping the floor, mopping, driving a truck, whatever his job is. That's what he sees himself doing. So he doesn't see himself as having any privilege. But see, we know that redlining exists. We know that if he lived next door to us, his house would be worth more than ours is. We know these things. We know that he can go to the bank and get a loan faster than we ever could. We know these things. But see, we understand privilege to mean different things. See, he knows if we know if the cops were called and he was arguing with you, who going to jail?
My black ass.
Exactly. But that's sad because you know it. But see, he doesn't see that as a reality. Mm-hmm. All he sees is his righteousness, because whatever y'all was arguing about, in his mind, he right. But in your mind, you right too. Mm-hmm. Right? The only difference is the color and the treatment that comes along with it. That's it. At the end of the day, Can you read some more of the comments?
Yeah, Christina said, there are so many movies that will change our way of thinking. They put it in our face, but we just think of it as entertainment. Black Mirror is a good series that shows us everything. Inception, Time, or just a few that shows how powerful our minds' perception are. I do like Black Mirror. That's a really good show. If you,
You said Black Mirror. I don't know why I thought you said Black Mayor. I was about to say,
No.
what's Black Mayor? I need to get up on that. Please watch American Skin if you can hear my voice. Go watch American Skin because,
oh, yeah, somebody said that. That's another good drone.
man.
Roman said, but your mom didn't give you a cup of coffee every fucking morning, and her mom gave her coffee. We all okay. So we're gonna go to the custom. So Christina said, a custom means adapted to existing conditions, and she said conditioned is have a significant influence on or determine the manner or outcome of something.
See, now I'm gonna go home and write a poem called "A Custom versus Conditioned."
Just do something conditioned. Nova said, man, if you get 5 people to start 5 businesses and everyone helps run the business each year, the 5 businesses grow over 6 years. Each business works for the other, and each business opens
Mike, don't do
each
it.
year by lottery.
I saw
Hold on 1 second.
Ro, keep reading. Hurry up.
No. Hold on. So it's 35,000 people in this city. I was talking to Grow Man the other day, right? So they got a rainwater tax. That rainwater tax, so it's like $20 they charge every for a person that owns property. So for every building you own, you're paying at least $20, right? So you put that $20 out, it's 35, let's say it's 35,000 structures in this area. Y'all might not think so, but believe me, it is. So let's say it's 35,000 structures, that's $700,000 every 2 months. What I want to say is, it's going to sound crazy, but if everybody ponied up $20, imagine what we could do. I mean, very minimal loss. What is that, McDonald's? What is that, a quick spin at the casino? What is that, something to drink? You got what I'm saying? If everybody ponied up $20, that's all. Continue, please. That wasn't 20 minutes.
That was $20.
I should have bet you.
Noble said, Garveyism needs to be taught.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
And he said, I guess it's conversation, Roman said, men looking at the world through the eyes of a woman.
It's a book.
And it's a book. Noah said, every man needs to read 3 books. Message to the Black Man, Know Thyself, and For the People. Let me see, go down, since there's a lot of them. Yeah, I don't want to hear nothing about church.
Oh, wait.
Uh-oh.
You're going to read it now just because you said.
Ding! Hit the bell.
Noble said, churches follow faith-based initiative, FBI. The government knows the churches have power.
Yes, indeed.
And they give them money so that they shut up.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what God you serve. It's supposed to be a personal journey. That's how I see religion.
Yes, sir.
It's not supposed to be, oh, come join me, serve this, follow this. So what they did was they took the black churches and they gave them money. And they said, all right, as long as y'all don't do anything. Think about all the murders that happen in these areas. How many preachers you see out there in the community marching that have sustainable, not house churches. I'm talking about full-fledged big building, 1 million people in their congregation churches. Why are they not out here?
There are no mega churches out here.
That's because there's so many churches. When I was in 9th grade, my history teacher, I think she still teaches. Shout out to Mrs. Johnson. She's from Georgia, but she lived in like Jersey. But she used to come over to Chester every day to teach. She said to us one day, she said, you guys have she had a southern accent. You guys have so many it's a small city, but you guys have a church on every corner. Why is there so much violence with a church on every other corner?
Well, it could be a church on every other corner all day. It don't mean people in it. And you also got to realize, once again, let me tell you how indoctrinated we are to things. So I'm very spiritual. If anything, I would have to say I identify Christian because that's what I grew up in. But there's a conflict. Although I can say I identify Christian, I no longer believe in the whole Bible scenario. But then deep down inside, I feel conflicted because this is what I have been conditioned to. See, once I knew a fact, and this is what we're going through, even when I talk about this book, and I'm comparing everything to myself, believe me when I tell you, so this is no judgment on nobody else. I think what's happening is the same thing with our people. You have a conflict. So I know my ancestors came from Africa, and I know my ancestors knew nothing of the Holy Bible. Nothing. So I know my people was taught the Bible. I already know about King James Version, why he did that, why he redid the Bible. You know, I know about the Spanish Crusades, and I know everywhere that England went, they thumped that Bible. Everywhere Europe went, they thumped that Bible. I know this. They crushed cultures and installed their God. I know this. So why do I feel guilty? When I even speak about it, I feel guilty. When I pray at night, I still have to say, Lord, you know, please forgive me. Please forgive me. But you know my heart. Because I don't know what the answer is, because guess what? I never died. So I don't know what heaven or hell looks like. I don't know what God looks like. I don't know any of that. All I know is what I've been told. So all this time, in my lifetime, before I came to this awakening and realization, all I ever knew was white Jesus. Because guess what? We got up every Sunday and we sang about him. We got up every Sunday and went to church sometimes 2 times a day. Sometimes I can remember being at church at night being like, oh man, when we getting the hell out of here tomorrow? You know? But guess what? They indoctrinated us. They indoctrinated our ancestors, and our parents indoctrinated us. So it's self-reciprocating, and it's never going to stop. We got to find the truth. I do believe that we're the Israelites. We're the real Israelites. I do believe that. You know, it's a lot of things that I believe, and through reading and research, I'm finding more answers. But at the end of the day, it is so deeply embedded in me that I feel guilty. So just imagine how deeply this is embedded in our soul when he can say, make them envy each other. And not only did he say that, he said envy is stronger than admiration or adulation. So at the end of the day, it's so deeply woven that even when the truth is smacking us in the fucking face, we can't digest it. It don't sit right. Oh, they unplugged me from the matrix. No, put me back in. I want my state. I want shit to be how it was. Nobody wants to face the truth. Because guess what? The truth is hard to swallow. I once told a woman I was dealing with, I said, the crazy part about everything is because she did some fucked up shit. And I said, the fucked up part about it is I loved you. You got what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And the problem is I just can't turn that off. Even though I know what you did, and even though I want to hate you and everything, I could not. We can't stop living this. Even though we know what it is, we can't stop living it. And to me personally, I don't want anybody to be the master of my soul. I don't want anybody to be the master of my decisions. And I'd rather people call me crazy. And this is what I was saying earlier. Yeah, it's a good thing that I could be looked at and labeled crazy. Because quite honestly, it's the crazy people that try to make the educated people look crazy. Something P said earlier just reminded me of Martin Luther and when he did the 97 Theses and all that jazz, you know what I mean? And when he said that that the only way you get to heaven is through your personal relationship with God. Mm-hmm. You got what I'm saying? And the church at the time labeled him crazy and threw him in jail, and then come to find out, it was the truth all along. It was the truth all along. But when has things like that not been true? Like the government lied to you, And then later on down the road, you find out something is the truth. You got what I'm saying?
Like aliens.
Yeah, like aliens. Once again, shout out to the
Very, very
aliens.
deep.
Shout out to the mothership.
Can't, gotta give it up for the mothership.
Yes,
Don't
indeed.
forget the mothership.
Yes. What you got?
I mean, well, I'm spiritual too. And I feel like a lot of things changed. I do believe there's a higher power. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
And things like that. And stay away from Christianity, especially. So once I started going through that and then finding out doing research that there's 2,000 some pages missing from the Bible.
Yeah.
And they got all these different versions.
What they-
That reminds me, that always reminds me, that
let him
book
talk.
reminds me part of it.
Because he getting into it.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, it opened up my mind to more stuff and everything like that. What's, you know, what's going on and like, okay, this doesn't seem right. You know what I mean? I can't even finish, like I told you before, I can't get past maybe like what 5-10 pages of the Bible.
Yeah.
And I can't. I just can't. It doesn't make any sense to me about everything that was going on. And same thing about the churches and then me looking at businesses, going to business school and all that stuff. It's so many churches and hoods and stuff like that. I feel like it's a business. You know that it's gonna be violence. So what do people they tell you to go pray about it? Pray the violence away.
I'm tired
So they
of
go in there and they take the money. So of course they making money because people come in there every Sunday and putting their money in, praying like, yes, help this person and all that stuff. So now y'all all banking off money. I'm not saying all churches are like that, but
It's a lot of them.
majority,
a lot of them.
there's making money off it as a business and things like that. That's why so many. I feel that so many like in the hoods like that. Because I go out in the suburbs, you see one church,
Bro.
one white nice church, and that's it.
Let me tell you, because everybody in that community go to that church.
Go to that
But let me tell you something. So this is what I don't understand about the Bible, and I'm not trying to make this church talk. So what's missing from the Bible? The book of Enoch. You know what I mean? Enoch is probably mentioned like twice in the Bible. Now it's only 3 people from the Bible who ascended. One of those people was Enoch. And if you don't know who Enoch is, look it up. Now, this is what I want to understand. Enoch was a very special person. And what made Enoch so special is he walked with God. He walked with God. Like all the time. Enoch was like the go-between between God and everybody else. Enoch was so special, in fact, that Enoch never died. Enoch was taken into heaven whole. Even God's son died. Enoch never experienced death. So this is what I want to know. If this man walked with God every day, and he has a book, his book was found within the Dead Sea Scrolls. Look it up. If I'm lying, I'm flying. I ain't took off yet. Why isn't Enoch's truth in the Bible? When he hung with God, he literally hung with God. But I'm just going to leave that right there. And I'm not really going to, I don't want to get into it because Enoch is kind of complicated. And that starts like a whole nother stream of conversation for another day.
So we're going to turn off of church then.
Yeah.
And Christina said that people believe the government without second guessing, not realizing they are people. But if you tell people something that actually makes sense, they question it.
All day. All day.
2 times on Sunday.
Oh, you know what else you ain't got to tell people? If you just walk into a group of black people start running, you ain't got to tell them shit. They just going to run.
Yeah.
Not at all.
You see somebody running, we all
You
running.
got to say nothing.
Listen, let P get up and run right now. I'm out.
You ain't got to ask no question. Not only am I out.
He's not even in this room, but I can see him. I'm like, baby, let's go. Like,
He be in front of him.
I'm gone. All right.
Feet don't fail them now.
This live will be recorded until the power go out. I'm out. It's over.
Christina says, so people around here questioning themselves instead of questioning everything around them, we feel that things don't make sense. I believe that's why a lot of people have anxiety, because they are going against what is naturally in them to do. We are used to being robotic that our own thoughts seem foreign.
Wow.
You see,
Yeah, that
that's
makes
pretty
a lot of
freaking
sense.
Yeah, because we've been trained and taught so much bullshit that we're leery of any and all information, especially if it comes from a critically acclaimed, credited source. Because we spend 15, 20, 30 years learning one thing and then spend that same amount of time unlearning the bullshit that we were
That we
learning.
just learned.
So now you find yourself 45, 50, 60 years old feeling like you a damn teenager. Because you like not a teenager physically, but
mentally.
not mentally, like education wise.
Yeah.
Because you've had to undo the bullshit and now it's like, yo, I gotta learn. This shit's crazy. So a lot of people do feel that way.
You know what's even crazier is that whenever you go to college and then you go somewhere to get a job, they'll tell you everything you learned, throw it out the window.
Yeah.
Everything you learned, throw it out. Oh, wait.
That was my
I just
first
paid
lesson.
$80,000 and you telling me to throw my $80,000. I needed this piece of paper just for a job. So in fact, you paid $80,000 for a piece of paper.
See, that's why Lean on Me is one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time, because he said it very plainly. What good is Shakespeare to a bunch of kids who can't go out and get a goddamn job?
I know that shit. I don't need to know it.
Throw that shit out. Like I took so many math classes, so many literature. The literature classes ended up panning out because I'm a poet. But the math classes, the science classes,
Not so much.
it was. I don't remember no more. Like it's.
Yeah, you do math.
I'm not asking my exes why and like.
Yeah, you like, what's this
No,
bullshit?
people be listen. Me and Math, we had a very sweet relationship as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then one day she brought letters home, and then shit went sideways. All right, I was great at math until they brought A and X in, and I'm wait a minute.
You know what? Somebody else was loving her enough that they got A's. You know,
But see-
your love wasn't that strong.
But like you said, the language was different.
Language, yes,
The
it
language
is.
was different because as a kid, addition was everything until you learned multiplication.
Yeah.
And what your parents taught you was law until you got into the world and learned that some things are not always what they seem.
Yeah,
So that's
exactly.
why you have so many people questioning what they've learned and what they know because they've been taught one thing and then they find out that ain't really what it is. Look at how it come around though.
Boom. Yo,
Yep, pretty much.
quick question, off subject. I want everybody to comment on this because I just want to know. First, I'm gonna take a quick poll, and then we're gonna talk about this for, let's say, about a good 10 minutes. And I'm gonna make sure I don't do most of the talking for some people in this room. Everybody else is accustomed to this and conditioned to this.
I don't like how you looked at me when you said condition, but all right, I'm with you, bro.
So,
Peace to the mothership.
my question: what you think about the COVID shot? Real quick. Don't get into a spill because I want to get everybody's opinion. Then I'm going to go back around. What do you think about COVID shot? Real quick. Yay or nay?
For me personally,
Just in general. Yay or nay?
nay.
Yay or nay?
I ain't doing this.
Yay or nay?
Hell no.
That's why I say for me personally or in general because
Just in
it's-
general.
In general, I'm not a. I have mixed reviews. I can't really say
Next question is why?
why. My own research as an African American man in this country leads me to believe that it's not in my best interest to take it immediately. I want to see how it pans out. However, if you are an individual with underlying health conditions and you have things wrong with you and you want to protect yourself and you feel like it's the best way to go and you feel like that's for you, then by all means, I'm not going to I'm not going to shot shame anybody. I'm not going to injection shame you. You know what I mean? But for me personally, and again, that's my own personal view.
That was really political.
That's my own personal, because how I feel about me, I don't want to impress that upon nobody else. Like
not.
I've done my I can't forget about the shit y'all did with the Tuskegee Airmen.
Yeah.
I can't forget about what's going on for. See, I'm not going to rant. Next person.
What do you think?
I never got the flu shot. I never.
Exactly.
I went back as far as when my parents used to take me to the pediatrician and I would get the shots. Then I have never allowed them to inject anything in me unless I needed it, right? So unless it was blood or IV, right? I'm not fooling with something that you just invented 6-7 months ago, and people are dying from it. So I need at least a 5-year test span of you giving it to people, and then we'll see what happens. And I can die from COVID, and that's okay. That was my
that's
choice.
your personal choice.
But if I'm not going to get a shot and then die of a heart attack next week, and you just say, "Oh no, it was a heart attack."
He said, "You want to take the what and give the what?"
What you think, bro? What you think? What's your why?
My why is I had the flu shot, and I get sick every fucking year.
Because it's the flu. Why don't people?
It's a strain.
It's supposed to be a dead strain.
No, it ain't shit dead because
But the
it
dead
gives you the
strain
flu
and
to
then-
fight off because you can build up antibodies to fight it off.
If you looked it up right now on your phone, it says the flu shot does not make you sick.
Bullshit. Tell
I'm
that
just
to
putting it out
everybody.
there.
It bullshit.
That's what the doctor
It don't
said.
make you sick after the
I mean,
third
the doctor's
one.
right after all, right? He got your best interests at heart.
Who best?
Coat.
Right?
That's white coat. You believe anybody with a white coat?
With a white coat?
No,
He
I'm not
got who
trying to-
best interest?
That's what I'm saying, though. That at the end
No,
of the
no, no,
day,
no.
I'm just telling you, if you looked it up right now about the flu shot, and if you said, does the flu shot make people sick?
It does.
It'll say no.
Because
Google will say no.
those are people who have gotten it over time. The first couple of times you get it, it's going to make you sick. And then you good. But you got to get it every year because the year that you don't get it, guess what? That shit smack you like Hollywood Hulk Hogan. All right?
Let me tell you something.
No,
So
you're
I
right.
tend to agree exactly with what all of you said, but more so with what P said. People are dying from it. People are displaying new medical conditions. People who weren't sick are getting sick. This shit is a motherfucking trial. And let me tell you something. I ain't nobody test dummy. I'm nobody's test dummy. And even besides that, I look at it this way. So I said this last week. I'm going to say it again. Bill Gates has no effing business being on the mother effing TV talking about anything dealing with vaccines or anything. You know why? Because Bill Gates ain't a motherfucking doctor. Bill Gates didn't even graduate college. Bill Gates dropped out of Harvard. He has an honorary doctorate degree from Harvard, but that's because he gives Harvard so much money. And Bill Gates has also been buying up a whole lot of land, just like Jeff Bezos and them, and not just any regular land, but farmland. And they're trying to put small farms out of business.
I like
That's
how
a
you-
whole nother conversation.
I like how you bleeped everything out and then said this motherfucker. I like that.
Yeah,
That was classy.
that's how it go. All I'm saying at the end of the day is keep your eyes open. And why did this brother have so much interest in, why is he even on my TV talking to me about anything medical, bitch? Make sure my computer don't get a virus.
How did he get rich?
Off of Microsoft and all that.
He created viruses for computers and then sold you the stuff to stop you. So he knows about
Probably
viruses.
did. Yeah,
Right?
no
A
doubt.
computer, just like a human body. You
Yeah,
inject
no
something
doubt.
foreign inside of it, it's going to do something.
Yeah,
Right? So
yeah.
he understands, oh, I can make money.
Well, he was talking about population control.
And population
too.
control is a huge
Definitely
thing,
was.
right?
Population, they said if we keep going on a trek that we're going on by, what was it, 2050? 2050, we going to start being in trouble. Let me tell you something.
We've been in trouble.
They try and knock down population. I don't want to get off. You know what? I'm going to
disease
save
has
that.
population
You know what?
You got 3
I'm going to
minutes left on
save
the
that
time.
for another show. I'm going to save that for another show.
It's all population.
Bro, all I know is this. All through the pandemic, I've been telling y'all, learn how to grow your own food. Right now, I'm growing potatoes, green peppers, onions. Learn how to grow your own food because I'm telling you, it's something crazy coming down the pipe. And I personally feel that I'm not going to do the political thing. I think that shot ain't for us. And if y'all remember in the very beginning, and I hate to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I swear to God, they said that smokers had a better chance of not getting the virus. Do you ever remember hearing that? Do you remember hearing that, P? When they said that smokers had, you were less likely to get it if you were a smoker.
That's why I smoke 4 cigarettes a day.
They was excluding a lot
You
of
never
people
heard
from
that?
shit.
I heard that.
Let me tell you
Menthol,
something.
baby.
Then menthol. Then they said
Rich,
black
bitch.
people were the most people getting affected by the COVID virus, and now all of a sudden you banning menthol cigarettes. Like, to me personally, I'm not trying to start no conspiracy theory, but I'm like this: all through the pandemic,
It's not a
you've been
conspiracy if it's
operating
right.
as normal. I've been operating as normal. I've been going places, doing what the hell I gotta do. You know what I do? I wash my hands and I wear my mask.
Right.
You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I have a low immune system and I have not been affected by COVID. Now, I'm not saying COVID's not real. Not saying that. But what I will say is, I smoke menthol cigarettes. And what they said in the beginning, I swear to you, I wish I would have saved the clip because I remember laughing to myself saying, oh, I guess smoking ain't going to kill me. I remember laughing to myself about it, like, finally, smoking is good for something. You know what I mean? But all of a sudden, now they want to get rid of menthol cigarettes, and I'm just wondering why.
Listen, my closing statement as far as the COVID talk is, I know you're a Marvel fan, right? Mm-hmm. Ro, you're a Marvel fan?
No, DC.
My man. P, you're a Marvel fan?
Absolutely.
Okay, X-Men 3, Magneto said, and I quote, in chess, the pawns go first. Mm-hmm. That's my time, y'all. Next topic.
Listen, we'll talk about this motherfucking topic for the rest of the motherfucking night. But I just wanted to put that out there and get everybody's thoughts on it. Now, I don't know about everybody else, but we need to get together, and we need to get together fast. Like, we're hundreds of years behind the 8 ball. I promise you. But let me tell you something. If we come together, and don't get it fucked up, Wilmington, North Carolina, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Rosewood. I know every time we build something, every time we get together and do something, they burn shit down. Mm-hmm. They find a way to infiltrate. Let me tell you, nobody's taking down the Ku Klux Klan, but the Black Panthers was taken down very quickly. You got what I'm saying? This is what I'm saying to you all. We need to get together, and we need to figure this shit out. We need to get this Willie Lynch up out our system. We need to put our women where they belong and where they need to be. And let me tell you, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If it came down to it and I had to follow and it was a woman with a strong plan, I'm on her heels. I'm on her heels. What do you need me to do? Because the whole time what I do know is they going to get you where you need to be. Mm-hmm. They going to get you where you need to be. But maybe if we just worked on getting Willie Lynch out of them, let them get where they need to be for a change, and then they work on getting it out of us. Because let me tell you something, when you're in a relationship, sometimes you're going to be the one working and she going to be the one in school. And when she get out of school and she get a job, then it might be your turn to go. You got what I'm saying? But we got to figure this out, man. We got to figure this out because when the real shit hit the fan, then people gonna wish that they sat back and listened for 5 minutes. People gonna wish they put this little bullshit in place. And let me tell you something, money ain't everything. And another reason why a lot of people wind up buying up land and shit like that, normally in financial crisis, you can lose all of your money. You can lose all your money all day long. But guess what? You own that land.
That's a fact.
That's something else. That land ain't just getting up and going away.
Not at all.
That's all I want to let y'all know. It's just not. But let me see. It's 9:46.
It's about guns and butter.
So what I wanted to do real quick was I want to open up the floor so you could do a poem. I wanted to ask you if you wanted to do one this evening.
Okay. I'm gonna hurt some feelings. Let Ro go first because maybe I should because he gonna clean it up for me. Because you said something that resonated in a poem that I wrote years ago. And I'm like, I tapped into it. I'm like, yo, I haven't read this poem. I wrote this poem August 21st, 2016. And I probably haven't looked at this poem in the last 3 or 4 years. That's the crazy part. Go ahead and get it.
You gonna read it?
Oh, you want me to go first? Oh.
I mean, it's.
Yeah, I'll go first.
You sure? Because I
know you the guest.
Mike, look.
Well, no,
Mike,
Listen, read your damn poem, man. Read your poem.
Are you talking to me or him? Which one?
Read your poem.
All right. I'm just saying, because you was like the Mr. Krabs meme. It was
No, you still talking. Just read the damn poem.
I'm going to say that because his shirt kind of tight. All right, this poem is called Real Nigga. Every now and again, I got to remind my friends of the obvious. My friend said, I'm out here for real, cuz, doing what I got to do because I'm a real nigga. I said, you a real nigga? He said, I'm the realest nigga. I said, really, nigga? Silly nigga, ignorance is bliss. You ain't even about to pick up what I'm putting down. Too much of that fertile bullshit clogging your sinuses. First off, your home is the projects, and my brother, we the assignment. Won't sell me on that bullshit you sniffing, cause see, I read the fine print. The lesson only earns you numbers. Rest in peace dates, plot number, sunrise, sunset, 25 to life, 3 strikes, 2 for 18, 3 for 25, and the inmate number that becomes your new name when you sitting in solitary confinement. But you, a real nigga. Fool, you ain't seen nothing real since we been here. See, what you do with an experiment is you watch what it does. You got to give it some help. Government cheese for that government mouse. Section 8 keys for that government house. To keep you alive, you get welfare and public assistance, but you're going to get the minimum, and with the public's assistance, you'll need that help even more. Them drugs going to keep the mamas from feeding the babies, and the babies going to take from the other babies to eat and the daddies, or they wasn't in the part of the experiment. They dropped a few in and left some around for the experience, but that's just to provide hope for the new citizens. So you, a real nigga, you so caught up trying to impress those in the box, you forgot the mission was to escape those who made the box. Now, I hate to sound like Loaded Lux, but beloved, are you a buyer or are you a seller? Are you a mover or are you a user? Are you a victor or are you a victim? Nah, you, a real nigga. Real enough to know every crab in the bucket, but not enough to see what's outside the bucket. You just another lost soul in the cycle, my brother. Wasting life in the glass box that the mimes put you in. But let you tell it, you, a real nigga. And you absolutely correct. In peace.
What you got for us, bro?
Man, the new piece I had performed
Knock
last
'em out.
Saturday. Huh?
I said, go ahead, knock it out.
Oh.
Y'all got me hyped.
This joint called Freedom. 6 a.m. I wake up. It's hot. Gotta find me something to eat before I go out. Wondering if the good people or the bad ones come in today. Will my neighbors get their doors knocked down like last time? Home is no longer a home, but an open cage where you can be attacked at any given moment, wherever you're in or out. Afraid to come out. You should be. We killing ourselves and by others. No new rights made. The rights have gone left. Working off 2 left feet. No direction. Out of tune. Out of mind. Nowhere to go but down to the knees, praying that your enemies go to hell while others rebel. Pull up. Oh well. Don't say we free. You free. Apparently only 46 states recognize Juneteenth, but united we stand when a threat doesn't discriminate all lives. Making these kids think they have freedom, but we need to free them from the manipulation of society, from drug applications, from lack of education, to the destruction of our people's liquidation. Freedom.
Y'all on fire, so.
I say yo. Say
This is not anarchy. It's a painful reminder that America was built off the backs of people who look just like me. Slung from trees in the effort to eradicate the notion that we could ever breathe. How dare you in the Constitution right before the people we, knowing damn well that you labeled us less than human beings. Raping, burning, and killing us until we also finally believe we could never be free. You destroyed our fucking family. Even today, our minds brandish signs of broken dreams. You see, that American promise was delayed, deferred, then denied. No slice of the American pie, just crumbs in an empty tin for those of us bathed in this rich, decadent melanin. America's guiltiest pleasure, yet we are treated as its deepest and darkest of sins. Our culture, strict mind, left behind is the resulting actions that you see. How dare you take we, poke our eyes out and then attempt to tell us how to extrapolate revenge. You honestly tell us to forgive and forget all of your sins. See, they're in the past. Well, you tell that to the white masses. You see, it sends chills up my spine when every day I see me and mine's hands up, shot in the back. Sitting on the couch, shot in the face. Watching TV, shot in the head. Shot in the head, sleeping in the goddamn bed by those we have entrusted to protect our lives. And then you say, sorry, wrong house, and go back to living your lives. You see, we are tired of burying our sons, daughters, husbands, and wives for an America lost in translation, yet dipped in reality and painted in perception. But why is it we're the only ones constantly forgiving transgressions for an America who never learned how to live up to what it said it wanted to be? I'm going to drop that right there. just because we're really limited on our little bit of time we have left. And I do like doing our little final thoughts on well, let me stop saying little because I hear people say it so much and it invades my thought processes. So I like to do these big thoughts at the end. And we end on these big thoughts because it's important. It's important for you all to see how we can sit here together and we laugh and joke. And some people could say things that other people can be offended by or whatever, but that's not the route that we take here. And we don't have to agree, but we don't have to fight about it. Because at the end of the day, I can't say that this brother is right or wrong for how he feels. I can't say this brother is right or wrong. I can't say that P is right or wrong for how he feels. But what I do realize is that there's a commonality in our thought processes. So, would you like to go first for final thoughts?
Yeah, I'll go first.
What's your final thoughts on tonight?
Man, my final thoughts is that black folks, like I said, drop the drum with the book. Everything that you've been taught, that you feel, if you feel a certain way about something and something doesn't feel right, then don't do it. You know what I mean? That's something telling you that that's not how it's supposed to be. That doesn't make any sense, and everything like that. And also, you know, work together, do better. You know what I mean? And you be fine. You know, free your mind, and
The rest will follow.
And the rest will follow. That's
You gonna finish this quote for me?
That's what you normally say, right? Free your mind and the rest will follow.
He might have had a remix or something.
Yo, what you got for your final thought this evening?
In the words of a poet named Ricky Taylor, it took for me to listen to Kendrick Lamar to Pimp a Butterfly for me to appreciate being a caterpillar. You know, dear black people, I love you. Dear black woman, I love you. And no, I'm not trying to get into your bed. Just want to let you know that I love you. Dear black man, I love you. I love my brothers. And I shouldn't have to say pause or no homo after that.
Amen.
I just want us all to love each other, man. Let's continue to have these conversations. Let's continue to be open with each other so that we can grow together, to build upon each other and with each other, and not just on the backs of other people.
Boom. Any final thoughts there, P?
No, y'all got it.
He like, no.
But I ain't getting in the middle of that.
Let me tell you what my final thought is for this evening. This is the last in a trilogy of a conversation that we needed to have. We definitely need to have this conversation. The only thing that I regret is that there wasn't a woman here for every conversation, you know, that we have. But it is what it is. We need to realize that division has been sown into our culture. You are not my enemy. You are not my enemy. And guess what? There's nothing you can do any longer that's going to make me hurt you. It's nothing that's going to make me want to fight you, nothing that's going to make me want to destroy you. And I want to talk to everyone in hopes that eventually one day we can all see eye to eye. When we get to that day, can you imagine how strong we will be? Can you imagine what would happen if all of these small businesses in our community, we just literally started buying our homewares from them, if we started buying our clothing from them, our T-shirts from them? Hell, most people run to the store in a heartbeat and buy a white tee. Shit, you might as well get a shirt with your name on it or something. I don't fucking know. Can you imagine what can happen if we got together and planted gardens in our community? They won't give us a real supermarket, or at least a good one. But can you imagine?
Hit the bell. I'm sorry, that was fire. They won't give us a real supermarket, or at least
not
a
a
good
real one.
I'm
Yeah.
still in that.
So at the end of the day, what I'm saying is this. What we need to understand is it's really hard on the African American male, but it's harder on the African American female. It just is. We need to put shit aside and get back to lifting her up. We need to put her where she needs to be. Because let me tell you, I always say, for the right woman, the right man would do anything.
That's a fact.
And for the right man, the right woman would do anything. Can we stop with the bitches and hoes already? And guess what? Women, can we stop with the bitches and hoes? Because literally, we're all running around with the bitches and hoes. You know, it's just a fact of life. It is. It's funny, but it's true.
Nah, I was thinking about a movie, that's all. Head of State starring Chris. No, not Head of State. All about Malibu's Most Wanted.
Oh Lord, with Jamie
Bill
Kennedy.
Bill Gluckman. He's down with the bitches and hoes.
Listen, all I'm saying, when it's all said and done, we have to find a better way.
That's a fact.
And I don't want to just talk about it. The problem is, I don't know how to do it all by myself. And that doesn't make me less of a man. I think it makes me more of a man because I'm going to stand here naked before you today and let you know that I don't know how to do it all myself. And I yearn to. I yearn to be a part of something and grow it. I yearn to get our community back. I yearn to take our community back from our misguided people in our culture that's giving it away to the white folks, that's plotting against the rest of the community. I yearn for us to revitalize this community together, but I can't do that by myself. I can only do that with y'all. That's the honest to God truth. I don't know how we figure this out, but man, write something down, inbox me. Shit, let's start the Justice League for real. You know what I mean? Let's start that Justice League. I want to be Batman though, y'all. I'm just putting that out there. I think he's the baddest one around. I promise you, he's the baddest one. But anyway, I digress. What time do we got?
10
It is 10 o'clock. So I want to tell y'all, July 22nd, we're having an open mic. Mr. Ricky Taylor, Slick the Hitman, is hosting. That is at 17 East 7th Street, the Fine Arts Center, Chester Fine Arts Center East. Please come out and join us. I will have some more dates for y'all together and some more information online for the next upcoming events. We also are having vendor events for Drink Like a Lady and a bunch of female vendors, wonderful ladies, got their stuff together. Come and empower these women. I need y'all to empower these women, give these women a reason to grow and hire more people. If you have not done it tonight, please go to CMP Radio on Facebook, like the page, follow the page, and you will get notifications on when any show pops up, any show come on. And if you're looking to advertise, please hit up that inbox. In the meantime, in between time, I will see y'all next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. Always find a reason to smile. Always find a reason to laugh. It's way too much bullshit in this world not to. Love you.
Peace.
La 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 la. Behind me, see my tears fall down. So many things have happened. The years go by and the friends you have, but no more jealousy and envy. Wow, because you keep on grinding, people wanna see you fail, and although you fall, just move on. Crabs in a barrel, want what you have, try to pull you down.